What is going on, guys? Welcome back. It is Tuesday, that making it Tech Tuesday. So I told you guys I was going to start bringing these back and bringing more of them, and I am. So from here on out, every Tuesday is going to be a Tech Tuesday video, and you guys seem to really enjoy them, and so I want to keep bringing them out for you guys. So for today's Tech Tuesday video, we're going to be doing another mouse review. If you guys didn't see the last one, I'll put it up right up in there. All right, let's jump on into it. So for today's tech video, again, we're doing a mouse review, and not just any mouse, but the Logitech G502 Hero. So this has been one of my absolute favorite mice I've ever used. Mice, that's the correct term, right? Pretty sure it is. Anyways, I love this mouse. I used it for as long as it allowed. We're going to break this down into kind of 3 different parts. We're going to do looks, we're going to do performance, we're going to do software. That's usually how I break down my videos. And that's what we're going to do with this one. All right, we'll take the looks. I wanted to start off with the fact that I did absolutely love this mouse. I thought this mouse was amazing. I highly enjoyed it. I put a lot of time, a lot of use into this mouse, and it always performed great all the way through and through. The looks of it, it just has that Terminator style look on it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the 2 side buttons here. Or what, but it just has that mean, aggressive look to it. And I'm trying to find the right angle, and I just can't find one that even does it justice. It's just a nice, aggressive looking mouse that looks great. Now, I am a fan of Logitech products. They've always been good to me, without ever having any issue at all with them. So on and so forth. So, we went over how beautiful and aggressive looking the mouse is. The shape of it, for me personally, it just fits just right. You know, it's like the Goldilocks story. You have all these different ones in front of you, and this one, it just fit perfectly. The skates on the bottom have been good. They're smooth. The weights on it come out right here. I have the box around here, but I wasn't quite sure. So when I retired this mouse, I decided it was, better just put all the weights in here. But generally, I would actually just take all the weights out and then use it that way. But yeah, ergonomically, I've done 14-hour plus game sessions and never bothered me a bit. It wasn't uncomfortable. It just, it's all there. It's all there on the outside. I mean, I don't, it's solid all the way around. Going into the cord is actually really nice. It's just a simple nylon cord, but it's super thin. It's extremely flexible. So you can, and it's very flexible. It's nice and thin. It is the nylon paracord style, and yeah, no complaints there. As far as being like connection wise or anything, I never had an issue there. It was always super fast. It was very responsive. Never had any disconnect issues. Never had any problems in that department ever. So let's go ahead and pop the specs on the screen. Perfect. All right. Now, we've talked about how good it looks. We've talked about the weights. We've talked about connectivity and if it had any issues. Let's talk about buttons. So here you have a profile switch. I personally never use it. It personally never had a purpose for me. The only time I would need to use it is say I was switching between games and it didn't automatically switch profiles. But in those instances, it could have been absolutely 100% operator error. I could not get it to work as far as switching to the other profile. So I would have to open up G-Hub, switch it to that profile. Again, kind of a minor thing. Takes 2 seconds to do. Now this button right here below the mouse wheel is the release. You have a nice infinite spin wheel, which is very useful in video editing and other things, and can be quite nice. And as you see, it will literally just spin for what seems like ever. Now, what happens when we push it down? You get that nice click. So for games like shooter games where you're trying to switch back and forth between weapons, it's quite useful there. I will say also, over time, I did notice that the tension right here, it just grew weaker and weaker. It lost tension over time quite rapidly. It's still 100% usable. It's 100% noticeable. Obviously, it doesn't spin on forever, but it is definitely something that I noticed early on. So now let's go to these two buttons right here. These are your DPI switches. Down, up, down, up. Now, most of the time when playing Tarkov or like Rainbow, I would actually switch this button to a command front one. That way it's just there. In Siege, I use it as ping. I forgot what I used it in Tarkov as, but these are reprogrammable. This one right here is not. So you can reprogram them. Never had any issues with them at all. I use pretty much the same DPS going across platforms, so it just worked quite well for me. Now, going on to the side here, we've got button 1. Try to get better lighting. Button 1, button 2, G4, G5 as they're labeled on the side, which is actually nice. It's nice that it's actually labeled on the buttons, along with right here it says G7 and G8. So this one says G9. Maybe you can reprogram it. I'm not sure. I never really tried to, but I never noticed it as well. So, but G9, G7, G8, G4, G5. Then you got this side button here. But these two buttons, never had any issues with them at all, ever, no matter what I was using them on, what game I was using them on. They always worked. Always. And on top of that, so I'm trying to show it here, but I loved this button, this back button. The placement on it for me was just so perfect. All I had to do is just barely tilt my thumb, hit the button. Now, the front one, I would have to actually move my thumb forward. That way, you guys, and I'll give you a good idea of my hand size. That way y'all can kind of get a good idea. Now, as far as this button, the sniper button, quote unquote, is usually used. It comes out of the box as a DPI shift. I don't personally use DPI shifts. Just never been my thing, but it is there if you want to use it for that. I will say one thing I do enjoy is it's not too far up. A lot of them, you know, as soon as you put your hand on the mouse, it's at the tip, but not actually at the middle of your thumb, right? So if you had to like do a jerk movement, you know, micro flicks and stuff like that, you're not going to accidentally hit it. You have to intentionally put that pressure at the front of your finger, right where the thumbnail is. So I think the placement on this button was perfect. Now, the grips on this, they're a little bit slicker on the thumb side, which I thought was interesting. This grip right here has way more traction than this side does, but that could also be just throughout use. But for me personally, there's not as much traction on this side. With it also having that groove, it never really becomes that much of an issue. I've never had it slip out of my hands. It's just obviously something to notice. All right. We've talked about all of our buttons, our mouse wheel. We have 2 more buttons left. This one and this one. So, I never had any issues with these buttons at all until 3 months into owning the mouse. I do want to stop and take a moment here and say this mouse got used a lot. I would have to go through Tarkov, Division, Siege, all kinds of games to go through exactly how many hours this thing had on it. And then on top of that, different video editing and stuff like that. It got used a lot. And I want to emphasize that it got used in a gaming aspect every day between just goofing off and streaming. It got used constantly. A lot of hours put into this mouse. 3 months in, I got an issue when I would try to aim. It would start to basically just rapid click. So like double clicking, but it would just spam it nonstop. And then sometimes it just wouldn't aim, period. This button would do nothing. A buddy of mine told me, hey, dude, unplug the mouse, plug it back in, see if that does it. I said, no, I didn't do it. So I didn't have a mouse that was in the middle of a stream. I took a Corsair mouse that I had, plugged it up to my gaming PC, and used it. 2 days later, the Corsair mouse I was using, I don't like using it for gaming. Not because of brand or anything like that. It's just the shape and weight of it. Anyways, so we plugged this one back in, and it worked fine. It was great. I was back to having my favorite mouse again, which made me happy. Right at the 4-month mark, it started happening again. And I tried to do the same thing, and that didn't work. Well, then it just officially went out. I waited a day, plugged it back in, and when it would aim, it would just spam it. And I'll put a couple clips up for you guys so you guys can see. It was a very frustrating experience.
Oh! Damn, they were waiting right at the entrance. Look down and press space and drone for a fast boost. Isn't space just... Oh, wait. Because you're talking about the jump thing, right?
Are you...
Oh, dude, that's annoying. Dude, I got instant kill. Yeah, that guy.
Ah.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Oh, wait till it gets really bad. Like, yeah.
I just thought that. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, ow, my eyes. It hurts my eyes to look at, bro. Must be hell on you. Did you? You said you didn't, or you did switch back to the other mouse, right?
Yeah, I did switch back to this one because the other one, like, it's way heavier, and I'm just having hell of a time trying to aim with it. And it's like a totally different shape.
Doesn't have the ADS thing, right?
No.
Oh, do you want to suffer with this one?
What's one of those deals where it's either my aim goes to but I can aim, or I get this and I can't aim. Make, like...
Oh, God, I have to switch. I can't, man. That hurts my eyes, man. I don't know how you're doing it.
The diffuser has been recovered.
Where's the bout cam now?
And the support you give me by doing that. No problem, no problem. Anything for you, Beyonce? Somebody's definitely over by us. Oh,
I almost choked. Dude, my mouse is literally having a fit. Oh my god, my mouse keeps up. One's on the right, one's straight ahead.
Friendly, last operator standing. Op 4, last operator standing.
I'm gonna try something.
But again, this mouse got a ton of use and abuse and time on it. So I can't knock it in that sense for the price. I think right now at a lot of places you can get this mouse for $50, on the higher end $70. For that, I feel like I got use out of it. I just wish it would have lasted a little longer. And figured, all right, it died. That's that. I went and did some further research, and you guys can if you wish. If you look up Logitech G502 double click, it is a really common issue with this mouse. I was sad to hear it and felt like if a lot of people were having this issue with this particular mouse and I got the time in that I did with it without having an issue, it made me feel a little bit better. But on the same note, that issue also didn't lead me into getting this mouse again, which I was going to. Because I did. I loved this mouse. It was a great mouse, and I'll always remember it. RIP. But it is what it is. That's how that goes. Either way, I guess what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is it is a really good mouse. But you do have that shot in the dark to have the double click issue. If you don't get the double click issue, say you get really good switches in the front, then you're going to be a super happy, super satisfied customer with this mouse. If it fits your, I mean, obviously if it fits your hand. I honestly, that is the only negative thing I have to say about it. Other than that, it is an amazing mouse. And I don't think anyone could go wrong with it. But there is the issue with the switches. Of course, it's not every single mouse, but there is quite a few of them out there with this issue. Hence why I end up replacing it and not going with that mouse. And if you guys want to see, I just did the video on the other mouse. I'll put a little card at the top. But now we've gone through the looks and the performance with a little bit of statistics. Let's go take a look at the software itself. Okay, so here we are on the Logitech G Hub. I am using the mouse so you guys can see. We're going to go to our G502 Hero. You can see what I have the brightness all the way up to 100. I like my RGB. It's just how I prefer it. Now, going into assignments, you do have the right, left on the mouse wheel. You obviously have your right mouse button, your left mouse button. You do have this button. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look here. Onboard cycling. You can, in fact, change this button to whatever you wish, which is cool. So there's an extra button right there. Now you have this button right here, which I have is M-Alt. That's something for Tarkov in particular for me. Then you got these. You've got a primary right here, right next to your primary. And then you would just switch to this side. You've got your DPI shift and your G4 and G5 on here. And their system is just really simple. So if I want to change this, you got different commands you can do. You can just use keys. So literally anything on a keyboard, not specified other than just keys. Actions where you can control other things. You can do macros, etc. You can do many other different aspects for it to work. So there's a lot of options in here as far as what you can do with these buttons. You can literally basically control anything using this. Which to me is just another aspect. And then the G shift, I never really used the G shift on any of this, but it is there. It is there for the option. And then this is where you would change your DPI sensitivity. Again, that would usually be changed here, but I have these reprogrammed and mine's just always set to 400. Now, here is where your onboard slots are, which, like I said, I never set them up, so it never would work for me. But I didn't really see a point considering all I had to do was go down here, click G-Hub, and click whatever game I was playing. And these are all the games I've played on this mouse on top of other games that wouldn't even register, such as Tarkov and others. But I feel like this gives you a good idea. Alright guys, so we've taken you through all the steps with Logitech G502 Hero. We've showed you the looks, we've showed you the performance, we've showed you the stats behind it, and we've showed you the software behind it. Now, at the end of the day, it comes down to, do I recommend this mouse? I will say it is definitely one of my favorite mice I've ever used. It performed wonderful until the issue appeared. It was 100% all the time. Now, with it also being a common issue, there is a manufacturer's warranty with it. And if you're a diehard Logitech fan and you want Logitech mouse, don't overlook this one. On top of that, you can also get, if you go through Best Buy or somewhere else, just make sure to get the warranty. That way, if you get one with the issue, you can replace it. If watching this review has made you second guess this mouse and you don't care about the brand, there is a lot of really good mice out there with the exact same shell, shape, everything, that you can go and look at. And we've done some reviews on that here with the mouse that I use to replace this one. And I'll put that card up there. But I'm so torn on this because there is a known issue with it, but on the same note, it was a really good mouse until that issue came up. That's basically the only way I know how to kind of put how I feel about it. It's great, but the switches are known to fail. That's my ending statement on the mouse. And I wish it didn't have to end with that. I wanted to, be able to say this was an amazing mouse and I would 100% recommend it, but there is a issue with it that is known about. like I said, you can go just type in Logitech G502, double clicking. And I mean, it'll just, yeah, there's tons out there. But if you guys enjoyed this video, if it helped you in any way, you learned something, you had a good time, maybe you got a laugh out of it, make sure to smack the like button. If you're new around here, we do tech videos every Tuesday. We do gameplay videos during the day. We do some news on different games as well. Make sure to hit the sub button. Hit the notification bell. Ding it hard. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much. Much love.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side.